Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and a question we get asked all the time is which Eureka is best? Is it the single dose or the XL? So today we're going to look at both and find out what's best for you. Eureka. They are one of the biggest manufacturers of grinders in the world. Based in Italy, they've been producing grinders for over 100 years. And recently, as of 2015, they've brought in a home line. This line here came out in 2019. I was at the host trade show in Italy when they released these versions. And going back in time, in 2015, we had released the Eureka home grinders to the Australian market at the Coffee Experience show at Moore Park. Now, looking at these grinders, they're the top end of your home line of Eureka grinders. They're both considered the Eureka ORO, or their premium gold line. And the differences between the two really comes down to workflow and how you want to use the grinder. Now, they're both running the same blades, the 65mm Eureka diamond cut, which are patented by Eureka. And there's both a positive and a negative. The positive is they really are good blades, both for filter and espresso. The negative is being 65mm, the aftermarket world have only made 64mm. So without big mods, you can't start playing with aftermarket blades. But that's not really a thing most people want to do, because out of the box, these grinders really are good. Back to the workflow. The main difference is with a single dose, you're putting in the coffee that you're grinding out. So you're not holding any in the hopper. There's very low retention, if any at all. So basically you get your dosing cup, you weigh 20 grams in, you pour it in, you grind 20 grams out, and that's it. So with the grind on demand, you got it based on time. And your screen, with your predetermined time for single, double, or if you click on both of them, grind on demand while you press that. A lot of times, people program their single for a very small amount of coffee, a purge. Because you do have coffee in the hopper and you do have coffee sitting in the blades and around, you want to purge out a small amount of coffee that was sitting from the previous coffee. If you're doing one coffee after the other, you don't need to do this. But if you've done one coffee today and you're doing another coffee tomorrow, you do want to just give it that quick purge, grind out a gram or two, and then put it into the double and grind your whatever you programmed that to be. It's based on time, not weight. In many cases, people at home realistically aren't weighing out what their results is, but those looking for consistencies will weigh out. In the case of the single dose, you have to be weighing in all the time. So grind on demand is more friendly from a workflow if you just want to wake up in the morning and get coffee done. But the single dose is easier if you have multiple beans. Let's say you have a blend and a single origin, or you want to do coffee like espresso and filter. Because there's nothing held inside here, it's really easy to adjust the dial and move it without having to grind coffee between each adjustment. And that's both a positive and a negative. This dial is really nice in that it's a worm drive that's moving your bottom blade. You can do micrometric adjustments and you can just move it just a touch. The negative side is if you want to go from espresso to filter, you need to do 2.5 revolutions and you do lose track of where you are. So as much as it is both an espresso and a filter grinder, I think it tends to be more one or the other. So you either buy it and use it as espresso or filter, but you do have the option to go from one to the other. On the grind on demand, because you got beans sitting in there, for you to do that, you really have to remove the hopper, remove the beans, and then grind out what's left in the chamber. So not so practical to move, to say between blends or between single origins and between espresso and filter. But the convenience of it, in terms of it has a portafilter support that holds any portafilter, and this is actually going to grind now, but you got the hand-free operation. So you put in your portafilter, grind, pull it out, check, tamp, and do your coffee. So from that aspect, it really is convenient. The other thing both of these grinders are is quite quiet. Eureka have worked a lot in, especially in the grind on demand or the XL, in noise dampening, and they brought it down to 60 decibels. And that really is quiet for a grinder. They've done the same on the single dose, but they haven't put some of the absorption in around the motor support, so it does vibrate a little bit more than this one. but realistically, it's a minute difference. It's not very noticeable. We can actually grind some coffee in so you can hear it. We'll grind out 20 grams. That's a pretty standard dose. And to grind this, you keep the chute closed, turn on the motor, bring in your coffee, open the chute, close the chute. Obviously, once the coffee's gone through, it stops the popcorning, and blow out any excess. There's a couple little slots in the chute, so with the bellows you do get the air come through, and we have 19.9. So in this case we lost 0.1 of a gram, but most times we're noticing 20 in, 20 out. Now both grinders do create a little bit of a mess. In the Excel's case, it does come with a big grinding mat, tamping sand and a whole kit, but it is part of grinding. Doesn't matter which brand you have, all grinders do make a tiny bit of mess. So the question becomes, which of these two is best for you? They're both at similar price points, same manufacturer, same blades, same kind of consistent fluffy grinds coming out. From the espresso kind of thing, you're gonna get a very similar result. With the Excel, the workflow is easier. Just push your portafilter in, out comes your coffee. Really good if you're using the same blend all the time. You don't really want to change between coffees too much. There is that touch of retention, although very small. They're already a very low retention grinder, but you can purge out a small amount of coffee and that kind of solves that. With a single dose, you do get a better result. There's virtually no retention, and because you're not storing coffee in the hopper, you're more likely going to be storing on a coffee canister of some sort, or the pouch coffee bag comes. Normally the coffee comes in a pouch coffee bag that has a one-way valve. Because you're storing it in a better manner, away from light, with a one-way valve, the coffee's storing better, so you are getting a slightly better result because you're storing the coffee better, you're only grinding out what you're about to drink, and there's no retention. But we're talking about marginal differences. Now, coffee geeks out there and the very, very passionate people are gonna say different. They're gonna tell me that grind on demand, whether it's this single dose or other grinders like the Niche, are the only grinder to have. But when it comes to workflow, I see a lot of people coming to us actually wanting a grind on demand grinder. It is a little bit easier, and it really depends on what people are looking for and the use case. So basically, it really depends on what you want out of coffee. I'm curious to know in the comments below, do you have one of these grinders? Do you have a grind on demand, or do you have a single dose grinder? Do you agree with what I've said? Let me know. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe, and thank you. See you in the next video.